This is my favorite part of the international news desk, where our producer Aidan Hewitt goes through the social media and asks me and Kurt Buckerfield a question off the cuff.
Gentlemen, welcome back to Seeking the Socials. A few errors in leading up to that, but we'll let that one slide, Sean. For those of you who don't know what Seeking the Socials is, it's basically a segment where I scour social media, finding the most interesting, topical, and controversial opinions relating to football. Some week I inform both Sean and Kurt of the topic, and I get their thoughts on it. And other times I allow them to choose a social media and in turn picking a topic. This week, quite a late entry into the planning of Seeking the Socials, and it relates to Andre Onana screaming at Harry Maguire for an error. Now, it's not just on Instagram, it's on every single social media platform. The media are having a field day, talking down on Andre Onana, like how can he do that? He's just walked into the team. But then you look at how he was at Inter and he was screaming at other players. And it's not a matter of he's, the new king of the crop, but he's just demanding the best from his defense. And ultimately, Harry Maguire, let alone any other player, hasn't had somebody like that with David De Gea. So what are your guys' thoughts on Andre Onana's antics of berating, if you will?
Aidan, I think, look, don't take anything away from De Gea. He was also one to scream and shout, and I just think he just got fed up of screaming and shouts at Maguire towards the end. So, but yeah, Onana is world class, and I think he's going to be the difference to Man United this year. I really do. I think United are going to come second after Man City, but yeah, he's it's who he is. Like you said, Aidan, I think Kurt may or may not agree with me, but it's exactly who he is. And just because he's just arrived, yes, he may need to stamp his authority. He may need to let his front four or his back four know what he's about. He demands the best from a world-class team. These are world-class players, and he's a world-class goalkeeper. So I don't think Harry Maguire took it personally. It obviously, maybe could have happened a little bit more differently. But yes, he's just arrived. He needs to make his presence felt. And he's one who demands a lot. And we've seen that at Inter. Even towards the end of the Champions League final, you saw him consoling players. And that's just the type of player he is, even though he's so young. But yeah, I don't think, obviously, the stupid English press just go to war on anything, right? They just need something. But this is football, man. This is, I don't think Harry Maguire took it personally. I don't know what's happened post that, to be honest, but these guys are earning 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 pounds a week. I'm sure they can take a little bit of a verbal abuse from their own.
And Kurt, just before we hear your thoughts, Sean, as a world-class goalkeeper yourself, were you ever part of that crew that would demand the best of their defenders? And if you did, which way? How would you approach that?
So I might be going off sides by saying this, but yes, that was probably the strongest part of my game, was communication. But again, South African players are, what's the word? They don't have thick skin. So you've got to be very, very careful in terms of how you approach certain players. And I got to know my defense very well. So I would speak to my players individually in a very different way. There are some players that I could jump down, and vice versa. I could take it. As a goalkeeper, you need to take criticism. But what's happening there, Kurt?
The light keeps going off, so I'm having to.
It's all about you, eh? Wow. Yeah, but I think in South Africa, it's very different. I've had to sort of tailor-make my own approach to certain players. I know who I could have come down on and who I couldn't, and there's various reasons behind that.
Kurt, what are you feeling about Onana?
Yeah, no, I agree with Sean completely. And I think that what's happening is like, when you see this kind of reaction to whatever a player's done, just always look at the intention and where it's coming from. And then you can sort of see what the agenda is, for lack of a better word. And I think that because of the way that De Gea was treated towards the end of his stay at Manchester United, certain sections of the media, a lot of them support Manchester United. A lot of them who work in the industry will be massive fans and will have been major fans of Manchester, or De Gea in particular. So every move that Andre Onana makes for the next year is going to be scrutinized. He's come in for, a big transfer fee, a big reputation. He is the manager's signing, so Ten Hag prioritized him. So this is now going to be an opportunity for the media, for rival fans who work in the media, to basically jump down his throat at every mistake he makes. And I'm not saying that shouting at Maguire is a mistake, of course not. But he will make mistakes, and he will sometimes make an error that potentially leads to a goal, or he will just make the headlines for the wrong reasons because of a fight with a teammate or whatever it is. And the media are going to jump down his throat. And that's just because he is an expensive goalkeeper who is daring with the ball. So it happened at City a few years ago where Joe Hart was kicked out, an English goalkeeper who had been at the club for a long time. Claudio Bravo came in, made a few high-profile errors in his first. Do you remember that, Sean?
I do, yeah.
High-profile errors, and was Pep Guardiola's signing. And the media absolutely hated it because, I don't know if you remember, but their predictions were Pep's style is never going to work in England. It's absolutely never going to work. So they were looking for every reason for that to be the case. So every mistake that Claudio Bravo made, it was blown out of proportion, and it became totally ridiculous. And the same thing will happen with Onana. Manchester United aren't typically this possession-based footballing side that Ten Hag wants us to become. We've generally been a team that plays on the counter, free-flowing football where, if we concede a few, we'll, at least in the past, always outscore the opponent. So it's been based around this entertainment. So I think there's the sentiment that Onana's signing doesn't necessarily fit the profile of the club. And therefore, like I've just said, every move he makes is going to be scrutinized. He's going to be criticized. When he makes his first mistake, it's going to be totally blown out of proportion. You're going to see sections of the media saying United are missing De Gea. It's going to be totally ridiculous. And I think that this is just another example of that. So I think it was Gabriel at Bonlahor on TalkSport talking about this. And he was criticizing Onana, saying he didn't like seeing the way he spoke to Maguire. That's just going to happen, Aiden. But Bonlahor's an idiot. What does he know? Yeah, you see, and he's backing up his English compatriot as well, Maguire, who he probably also feels has been unfairly treated. Like, it doesn't matter, these things happen, and footballers should be able to handle that, especially when you're playing for arguably the biggest club in England and the biggest club in the world. Like, you've just got to handle that. So, be prepared for more of this. It's going to happen every week with Onana.
It's definitely refreshing, though. Like, I do remember De Gea doing it once or twice, but not to the extent that Onana was seen doing it. So hopefully he can get shit in order. And gentlemen, that is all for Seeking the Socials this week. We'll see you again soon. Kurt, enjoy Turkey. Look after those teeth in recovery. I heard it's quite a painful process. And we'll catch up then.
Thanks, Aidan.
Thanks, Adi.